interested in a one-on-one with me. So today's topic, as Dan was mentioning, is kitchen remedies. And in this workshop, we're going to learn about the different healing properties of many simple foods that we typically will have around the house, and how to use them and apply them as natural remedies. And it's amazing how many ailments it can actually help ease, soothe, prevent, etc. And we're going to discover the healing power that we already have in our very own home. So let's just see if I can maneuver this. There we go. All right, so I believe that God is our creator, and he created us and everything that we need in order to have perfect health. He provided everything in perfect balance right in nature. And I'm going to share a quote just to start to encourage us from Revelation 22, verse 2. It's talking about the tree of life, which had 12 manner of fruits. And it says that the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. How beautiful is that? So there's a quote from one of my favorite authors from the book True Education, and she states, God's healing power runs all through nature. If a tree is cut, if a human being is wounded or breaks a bone, nature begins at once to repair the injury, even before the need exists. The healing agencies are in readiness, and as soon as a part is wounded, every energy is bent to the work of restoration. So that means that restorative power is not found in drugs or chemicals, but in nature. And God created us to have abundant health and to be in a state of homeostasis, which is balance. So our body can regulate and heal itself. And as we can have this balance as long as we follow the laws of health. So just like physical or scientific laws, like Newton's law of gravity, for example, our Creator has given us simple laws of life that we should follow to be healthy. These laws are accessible to everyone, anywhere. And if we live by these health principles, many, if not all, of the lifestyle diseases that exist today could actually be prevented. So let's review really quickly what these laws of health are. I'm not going to go into detail on them, but I just want to show you that there's an acronym. It is called, whoops, I don't know if I'm doing something funny here. Whoops. The acronym is New Start. So each letter of the word New Start represents a different law of health. N is nutrition, E is exercise, W is water, S is sunlight, T is temperance, which means abstaining or keeping away from things that are harmful to our bodies, and as well as having moderation over the things that are good for us. We need to have moderation in all things. A stands for fresh air, R stands for rest, and T stands for trust in divine, trust in God. And these are all interconnected, and there's not one that's more important than the others. But being a nutritionist, I'm going to focus on the nutrition aspect today and on how we can use food as our medicine. So let's say we don't follow all of these health principles properly. Well, we end up overtaxing our immune system, and eventually we get sick, right? So once again, from a different book, actually, Ministry of Healing, we can have a definition of what disease is. It says, disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health, which were the ones we just looked at. In case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained, unhealthful conditions should be changed, wrong habits corrected, then nature is to be assisted in her effort to expel impurities and to reestablish the right conditions in the system. So what does that mean? Let's take a look, breaking it apart. So in case of sickness, the first thing that we have to do is figure out what the cause is. What's creating this state of illness in our bodies? Second thing is changing the unhealthful conditions. Third thing is correcting the wrong habits. So if there's something that we're doing wrong that's provoking this illness, then we correct it. And then assist nature. So that means that once you've changed these unhealthful conditions and corrected the wrong habits, then nature is to be assisted. Well, what does that mean? Well, that's where you would use natural remedies made from whole natural foods that won't harm you or give you any undesired side effects. The items that you have in your fridge and in your cabinets at home, they're either going to help you get healthy, or get sick. So things that you grow in your garden, if you have one, that you buy and put in your kitchen nice and fresh, that's where your medicine cabinet should be. So we can turn our food into safe medicine to assist our body to heal. Let's take a look at some of these natural remedies using ingredients that you would typically find in your home already. When we give our body the right conditions, we know that healing happens. All right, so let's take a look. Typically, I would do the demo of each of these ingredients or food items as I go along, but because we're doing this via Zoom and we'd have to toggle between me sharing the screen and you seeing what I'm going to do here, we've opted to go through all the information first. So it's going to seem like a lot of information all at once, but then at the end, I'll go through and show you the actual application, the hands-on, okay? So we're going to talk about each item, and then at the end, I'll demo how you can use them, okay? So we'll start with the onion. Now, onions have many benefits and many qualities in common with garlic, but a little bit milder than garlic. Onions have a high content of sulfur, and this helps to thin the blood and lower blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, onions are excellent for that, for helping with that. And it's also responsible for onions' unique flavonoids, such as quercetin. Quercetin in onions actually helps reduce allergic responses and boost your immunity. So these benefits that I've listed here on the screen, I'm not going to read them all, but you can take a look. These benefits are benefits that you would have if you actually consume the onion. So if you eat onions, raw or cooked, you would have these benefits for internally, right? So now looking at the next part, the medicinal use. So you can also use onion as a remedy or as a treatment, so to speak. Onions can be used raw, for example, for respiratory issues, head or chest cold, or you can actually use them cooked as a poultice for, let's say, earaches, or if you have boils. You can also use the onion as a tea. You can make an onion tea. It sounds kind of strange, but it's very effective. And as a syrup for cough. You can use it as a rub or even in slices. And I'll be showing you some uses in the demo part. So that's onion. Then garlic. Garlic is amazing. It's one of nature's most powerful antibiotics. And unlike the pharmaceutical antibiotics that may destroy both the good and the bad bacteria in your body, garlic is selective in killing just the unwanted bacteria. It's amazing. It's been proven to work against E. coli, Salmonella, Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, all of those kind of big name ones. It's recommended for diarrhea, gastroenteritis, colitis, urinary, and any other infections because it contains this one powerful ingredient called allicin. It's an organosulfur compound, and it's extremely powerful antibiotic and antibacterial properties. Both onions and garlic have potent sulfur compounds in them that stimulate actual DNA repair in our bodies, especially when you eat them raw. So the component that makes the garlic really stinky and onions, that's actually the stuff that's very good for us. So enjoy eating raw garlic. So these are the benefits on the screen once again of eating garlic, whether raw or cooked. Very high in allicin. Then you can also use garlic as a medicine, okay? Garlic can be used to make syrup for coughs and laryngitis or throat, tonsillitis. You can make garlic oil very easily by just chopping up about a cup of garlic and adding olive oil and letting it sit for about a week. It's good for treating earaches, for treating various other ailments as well, skin conditions. Poultices, you can use garlic poultices to neutralize certain poisons, eczema, dermatitis, boils, as well as to neutralize acids in arthritis and similar conditions. So I will be showing you how to use garlic. I think I have 2 remedies with garlic to show you how to use those. So that's the medicinal use of garlic. Next is ginger. Now ginger, whoops, my screen is not catching up here. Okay, so can you see the benefits for ginger on your screen? I think
yes, we can.
Okay, good. Mine was kind of doing a funny thing. All right, so ginger is a common flavoring agent in food, and it can also be used to treat numerous conditions, including stomach aches, diarrhea, nausea, hemorrhaging, arthritis, toothaches, all kinds of things. Normally in North America, ginger is used primarily as a digestive aid. People will get ginger tea if they have an upset tummy, or to help relieve excess gas and bloating. It helps with nausea, vomiting, morning sickness, or motion sickness. So any of those kind of yucky feeling, ginger is excellent for that. It's a diaphoretic, which induces sweating. It's a warming root. So if you use it for warming purposes as well, and it's actually an appetite stimulant. Ginger has a beneficial effect on prostaglandins, which reduces inflammatory processes. So it's helpful for conditions like arthritis, bursitis, tendinitis, injuries, anything with inflammation, right? And also allergies and asthma. So these are some of the benefits for consuming ginger. And then ginger, it has a property called gingerol. It's a main bioactive compound in it, and it's responsible for all of ginger's medicinal properties. It can be used also as a poultice. I'll show you what I mean by poultice in a little while. It might be an unfamiliar term for you, but you can use it as a poultice for any kind of swelling or pain, or you can use it as a tea, like I mentioned, for any kind of tummy issues, or you can actually grate it directly into natural remedies. So garlic or ginger is a very powerful medicinal food as well. Looking at the next one, cabbage. Now, cabbage has a sulfur content, and because of its sulfur content and a substance in it called histidine, cabbage is effective in fighting cancer by inhibiting tumor growth, believe it or not. It strengthens your immune system. It detoxifies the body from harmful chemicals. Cabbage is also rich in minerals, especially potassium, which is very effective for treating hypertension. So if you have high blood pressure, you can juice cabbage and actually drink it, and it will help lower your blood pressure. Cabbage may affect blood sugar though, because it is sweet. So your blood sugar levels, you have to be careful if you have diabetes, not to consume too much of it, especially raw. And there's also a caution that eating excessive amounts of raw cabbage may interfere with iodine absorption by the thyroid. So people with hypothyroidism or goiter issues should avoid using raw cabbage, consuming it, and instead opt to cook it, steam it, have it cooked, and then it's better. But look at all these benefits from eating cabbage. Now watch this. Look at all the benefits that you can use cabbage for medicinally. Amazing. Cabbage can be used medicinally by drinking the juice, as I already mentioned, for any kind of gastrointestinal ulcers or stomach problems, for sore throat, for yeast infections, intestinal disorders, and even parasites. You can also use cabbage as a compress or a poultice for pain or inflammation, especially arthritis. You can use it for insect bites, sciatica pain, muscle aches, liver attacks, intestinal pain, diarrhea, dysentery. It's a lot of things. You can actually, I won't be showing you the actual remedy, but you can peel the leaf of a cabbage, and I'm not gonna actually demo it, but you can take, I think I made a terrible job of ripping that because I actually ripped it, but you can take a cabbage leaf and pierce through it with a fork or even with a rolling pin so that it brings out the juices. You can warm it slightly and then apply it to the area where you have the pain or the swelling. So if I did that with my cabbage leaf, and I would soften it up, and then I could make it into a poultice and either apply it to my ear if I had an earache. It's also excellent for nursing mothers who develop mastitis or any kind of swelling on the breast. You can use the cabbage leaf very effectively to put it around the breast, and it will help with the swelling or mastitis, or pretty much anywhere else that you have swelling or pain. It's excellent. That's one that I've used many times and that I've encouraged others to use, and they've had great success with cabbage. So that's cabbage. Next one we're going to look at is lemon. Lemon juice is excellent as a blood purifier. When you get up in the morning, if you drink the juice of half a lemon in a cup of warm water, it will balance the pH in your colon, and it will help detoxify your system. So it's kind of like having a little mini detox or mini cleanse every morning, and it will stimulate. And as a cleanser, it actually neutralizes the acid and promotes healing. Lemons are also wonderful for as a liver stimulant and as a solvent for uric acid and any other toxins. There is a caution, however, that if you have ulcers, to avoid lemons and other citrus fruits in the raw state so that you don't exacerbate it. But these are some of the benefits of lemon. Try to click for the next one. Okay, so this is a list of some of the medicinal uses for lemon. So in trying to use it as a medicine or as a remedy, it's actually used in many natural remedies. And I'll be showing you 2 examples during the demo today where you could use lemon as a medicine. But you can take a look at on the list here some of the things that you can use lemon for medicinally. All right, the next one, the humble potato. Potato, who knew that potato could be something that would be of a medicinal benefit? Potatoes are actually packed with all kinds of vitamins and nutrients, right? Especially if you get nice organic potatoes. And these vitamins not only nourish the nerves, but they also help with your carbohydrate metabolism, which helps in weight loss. So if you eat potatoes, you can actually, it helps your metabolism to work quicker and lose weight. Eating potatoes can give your stomach a rest too, because it doesn't have to put too much effort in digesting because of the soft texture once it's cooked. And something that's fascinating in potatoes is that it has a sedating substance called diazepam in it, which is the same substance that's used in pharmaceutical anti-anxiety medications. And when you digest it, this substance gives a sedating and relaxing effect on the stomach. Can you believe it? Isn't that amazing? Just from a potato. And potatoes also have antacid effect, and because of its alkalinity, it's able to neutralize excess acid. So it's actually very therapeutic to include simply prepared potatoes in your diet for people suffering, let's say, from stomach ulcers or gastritis or any kind of stomach conditions, even celiac disease. So potatoes are amazing to eat. Now, potatoes also have benefits in medicinal use. So for example, if you have diarrhea and you can't get it under control, you can eat unsalted cooked potatoes mashed with water, and it will help with diarrhea. If you have indigestion, you can eat about a half a cup of raw potatoes, and it will help soothe the indigestion because of that nice calming and sedating property that it has in it. If you have heartburn or gas, you can drink fresh raw potato juice first thing in the morning, or you can take 2 tablespoons before your meals, and it will help you with that. You can also drink its juice. You can make a poultice or a compress, which I'll be showing you how to do during the demo, or as a broth to treat gastrointestinal issues such as ulcers. So that's potato as a medicine. Next, we're going to talk about cayenne. And cayenne is a blood stimulant. I have mine in powder form like this here. Cayenne's a blood stimulant. So whatever stimulates the blood stimulates healing. So adding cayenne to any other herb will actually increase that herb's effectiveness. So the capsaicin in cayenne peppers has metabolism boosting properties and pain relieving properties. So for example, the capsaicin, it prevents blood clotting, it relieves pain, stimulates the release of endorphins in the brain, which has a pain relieving effect similar to morphine. It is powerful. We'll talk a little bit more about it. That's so you can have in moderation some cayenne added to your food to enjoy some of these benefits. But then also medicinally, the capsaicin in cayenne helps increase the amount of heat that your body produces. So wherever you put the cayenne, it will actually activate the circulatory system by bringing heat to it, and it aids in combating things like the flu or a cold because it increases the blood flow and it speeds the immune cells getting transported to the infection site, because wherever there's heat, the white blood cells will rush there to kind of assist. It's actually even known to fight gastrointestinal pathogens, ulcerations, and even cancer. And we're going to be using it today in one of our remedies that I'll be sharing with you. The next food item would be honey. Now, honey is a sweetener that many people commonly use to sweeten their food or their drinks, but it's not only a sweet treat, it can be a sweet medicine. From skin problems to constipation and even respiratory disease and liver problems, honey can do wonders. It needs to be consumed in moderation because it is still metabolized in your body as a sugar, and just like table sugar or molasses or maple syrup. So you have to have it in moderation. So just like anything else, eating a mix of healthy foods can only help your body better fight off any kind of a disease. So these are some of the benefits on the list of consuming honey. But we can also, as you have figured it out, use honey for medicinal purposes. You can actually apply it directly to your skin to heal abrasions and irritations. You can put it on insect stings. You can make a paste with it with cinnamon or cayenne to help with arthritis. It'll bring healing to the area. You can also mix it with other healing foods to make wonderful remedies. And I'll be showing you one during the demo as well. Next, we're going to talk about essential oils. Now, essential oils are concentrated extractions from plants. A process called distillation turns the essence of the plant into a liquefied form, and they have many medicinal uses. They're super, super concentrated and very powerful. Many essential oils have antioxidant properties, and antioxidants help prevent damage to cells caused by free radicals. And these free radicals can actually damage your system and lead to serious diseases like cancer. So certain essential oils have antifungal, antibacterial, and antiviral properties, and it makes them useful to have in your medicine cabinet at home. They've also been shown to promote healthy sleep, relieve headaches, alleviate pain. In addition, essential oils can improve skin conditions and help treat things like the common cold and encourage healthy digestion. One thing to keep in mind, though, when you're using them as medicine, you have to make sure that you're purchasing therapeutic grade pure essential oils that can be safely ingested. Not all essential oils are of that caliber, so you have to be sure that when you're buying it to check on the bottle to make sure that it is safe to be ingested and that it's organic. These are some examples of different essential oils. For example, peppermint. Peppermint oil can help you with giving you a boost of energy because it's very refreshing and can help your digestion, respiratory, and headaches. If you take a little bit of peppermint oil and you rub some across your forehead or your temples and the nape of your neck, and even though I put a little bit sometimes under my nose as well, opens up your airways immediately because it's so refreshing, and it helps with headaches. So it's an excellent thing to have even in your purse if you're prone to headaches. Lavender oil is excellent for burns. You can put it directly on burns. It's a very relaxing oil, so you can use it to help promote peaceful sleep and help against stress. It's a nice one to diffuse in your bedroom so that it creates a nice, pleasant scent in your room, and it's very calming and relaxing for bedtime, especially for children, agitated young children. If they're stressed or if they have trouble settling into sleep, lavender oil is excellent for that. Oregano oil is a super antibiotic and antibacterial, excellent for colds and flus. If you feel that you have something coming on, you can take a couple of drops, 1 or 2 drops, depending on how powerful your oregano oil is, and you can take them as drops just under your tongue, and it will literally like stop the cold from developing any further if you catch it early enough. It's amazing. It works so well. Clove oil is amazing as a bug repellent, but also for toothaches. If you put a little bit of clove oil with, let's say, a Q-tip, you put a little bit of oil and then you apply it to the gum area in the area where your tooth is hurting. It's like an analgesic. It numbs the pain right away, and it works really, really well. I've had success, and many people tell me and thank me for the tip on using clove oil. Frankincense is another really amazing oil. It heals tissue, it's anti-cancer, and used for inflammation issues, can be used as part of remedies as well, or straight. And tea tree oil is also another one that's antifungal, excellent for thrush or any kind of yeast problems like athlete's foot. So if you're prone to athlete's foot, you can drop a few drops of the tea tree oil right between your toes in the areas where you have the athlete's foot issue, and put cotton socks over top, and it will help really work that out. And so there are many others, but I just decided to highlight a few. So that's essential oils. Last but not least, water. Now, water may sound like an unusual item to include in a kitchen remedies talk, right? Because water, people think, what do you mean water? Well, since our bodies are at least 75% water and our brains are about 90% water, it's very important to stay hydrated. So there are many benefits to drinking enough water, including the ones that are mentioned here on the screen. So you can take a look and see, anything from flushing bacteria from your bladder and flushing out toxins by drinking it internally. It's kind of like washing the insides, right? And it helps to normalize your blood pressure, stabilize your heartbeat, even your temperature. So water can be a remedy simply by taking it internally and by drinking it at room temperature or slightly warmed. So your body doesn't have to adjust the temperature in order to use it. As well, medicinally, water can also be used externally as a remedy. So from things like washing out a wound, personal hygiene to kill any germs on your hands. As we all know, with all this COVID, there's been a lot of hand washing and you need fresh water for that. Water can also be used externally for soothing baths, for stress, and for sleep support. A nice warm bath before bed just relaxes your muscles and helps you to sleep. But also you can use water as specific treatments. You can use it in its solid state as ice to help with inflammation and pain. A lot of kids, they think ice is like the magic cure for everything if you give them ice, and it helps quite a bit. Hydrotherapy is also an excellent specific treatment that you can use water for. You can use things like a hot foot bath or a contrast bath, fomentation, heating pads and compresses. All of these things can easily treat specific body parts with virtually no adverse side effects. It's inexpensive, right? Especially here where we live. In North America, we have water readily available, and it's convenient because it comes right out of your tap at home, right? Some of these hydrotherapy treatments may be new to you. One thing that you may use a hot foot bath is putting very hot water, as hot as you can tolerate without burning your skin, in a bucket or in a container, putting your feet in, and it will help relieve congestion, headaches. It pulls everything down towards the heat. Just like cayenne, as I was mentioning, wherever there's heat, our white blood cells will pull and will try to remedy the situation. So if you put your feet in very hot water and then put a nice cool cloth around your forehead, it can help ease things like any congestions or headaches or migraines or any kind of respiratory type things. But some of these hydrotherapy treatments are very particular and specific. They may be new to you. I won't be able to demonstrate these today because our time is limited, but I do have a hydrotherapy workshop for those who are interested. And that's the end of the actual food list that I have prepared for things that are medicinal, but many other foods can be used to assist healing as well. These ones are sort of the most common ones, but things like aloe vera, activated charcoal, castor oil, molasses, and many, many herbs, which I haven't even talked about except for in the essential oils component. All of these types of foods and items can also be readily available in your homes. They may not be readily available. You may not have them on hand, but they're easy to get in any health food store. And they're also very, very powerful healing agents. I'm not going to discuss those because those are not your typical ones that you would have, but they're good to point out. So I'm now going to show you a few of the kitchen remedies using some of these foods that we just covered. I know it was a lot of information all at once. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can show you how they're done. And then at the end, I can put up the recipes or the steps so that you can make note of them. Okay, so let me see if I could maneuver this to stop sharing my screen. All right, so far so good. All right, so let's see if I could show you. I'm going to start by showing you how to do a potato poultice, and I'm going to see if I can lower my screen a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing here on my table. You would use a potato. Whoops, there it goes. Use a potato. I feel kind of funny because I'm Yeah, we'll work it out. A potato, you can grate fresh potato, and you can use the potato poultice that I'm going to show you right now. It can be used for things like boils, burns, swelling, sprains, pains, any issues with soft tissues. So you would basically take a raw potato, grate it. I'll show you. You guys able to see what I'm doing?
Yep.
So grate.
We can see.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Dan. So you would grate a potato, fresh potato. I'm just going to show you very quickly. You would take that grated fresh potato, just like that. Okay, you see that? And you can either put it directly on the skin or place it in on a paper towel. Let's grab a paper towel, sorry, got to grab. You can put it on a paper towel or even on a cotton cloth, something like this, okay? Just a white cotton cloth. You want to use white so that there's no dyes or chemicals in the fabric, just white cotton cloth like that, or simply right on the paper towel. And you would put the grated potato like that. You can make like a little envelope for it. You see right away that it's already soaking through. Can you see that? It's already soaking kind of through the paper towel. And you want that. You want those juices to be put directly on your skin. So if it can get a little bit messy depending on where you're going to put it. And the poultice will be, you'll have to grate enough potato for the area that you're planning to cover. So you would put, let's say I had hurt myself and I had some swelling happening on my wrist area. I could put the grated potato right to the affected area. And you can either use something like saran wrap to wrap it around, and it'll hold it in place, and secure it either, like I said, with the saran wrap or with tape or bandage. And you would secure it to the area, and you would leave the poultice on for, depending on what it is, about, anywhere from 4 to 6 hours or even overnight. And it's very, very effective in treating things like boils, or if you burn yourself, or swelling, any kinds of sprains. You can use it on sprained ankles. You can even use it, believe it or not, because it's so gentle, because the potato is mild, so mild, you can actually even use it on infections on your eye. So if you're prone to styes, or if you're prone to getting kind of, I don't know, any kind of swelling or wherever, you can put that grated potato directly over the area, and it's gentle enough. Obviously, you're not going to tape it or anything. You could. You can just lie down a little bit or hold it in place for a while, and you can use it as often as you need until the swelling and pain goes down. And it's very effective, and it's super easy. And who doesn't have a potato around the house to be able to use as a poultice like that? So that's a really easy remedy with potato. Okay, so that's a potato poultice. Next, I'm going to show you an onion poultice. So I'm just going to clear off my area here to show you. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the onion because it's an interesting food. It's a drawer, not a drawer, a drawer, which means it pulls toxins from the air. If you actually slice it, I'm just going to move that out of the way. If you actually slice an onion, everybody knows what onions look like, right? So there's a regular onion. And if you remember, the red ones are the ones that have the highest amount of quercetin. So if you're ingesting it, the red ones are the ones that are sort of most beneficial. But for remedies, for using it as a remedy, you could use a regular yellow cooking onion. And you can slice it up like this, okay? And you can put it on a plate to draw odors from the air and to draw toxins. So if you have, for example, a cough, or if you're sick with anything, you can actually place a cut onion or slices of onion right at your night table, and it will draw the toxins in the air while you sleep. You can even draw odors from your fridge and wherever. It's an easy way to draw toxins from your head. If you have a head cold or chest congestion or a cough, for example, you would take the sliced onion and place it. I'm going to show you, and see if I can show you here. You would take, let's say, a plastic bag, okay, and that's just for preventing it from getting too messy. And you would take the slices of onion and just kind of position it across all over and layer it on your bag. And you're going to place this, you're not going to believe where I'm going to tell you to put this, but you're going to place this directly on the bottom of your feet. Now, the bottom of your feet is the area of your body with the largest pores in your body. And remember, because onion is a drawer, it's gonna draw out everything right into the pores and right into the onion. So you would put this plastic bag and you would put your foot right into it. I'm gonna just pretend that my hand is my foot. I'm gonna step right on it, and I'm gonna use the plastic bag just to keep it sort of neater without getting so smushy. And then after that, you don't have to tape it or anything. You can just use a nice fitted white cotton sock, and you would put the sock on basically, and it'll hold it in place. You can do it during the day if you don't mind walking around on stepping on onion like that. It gets squishy, but that's the idea, because you want the juices to actually be on the pores of your feet to draw and pull. But you can also do this at bedtime and just go to sleep with the onions on your feet. It's excellent for chest congestion, like I said, or cough. Amazing if you have a cough to be able to put this on the soles of your feet and go to bed, and you'll get relief. It's amazing. It's an excellent remedy for children, because most kids hate taking cough syrup or anything like that. So this is an excellent remedy to use for that. So strange, right? But very, very effective. You can also use cooked onion as a poultice, and I'm going to show you how that works as well. Let me see, I'm just going to rinse my hand because I've got onion on it. So you would use onion, excuse me, you could use onion as a poultice for earache. So for example, you would take a whole onion, this one's already cut, but you would take a whole peeled onion and you would steam it or dry bake it, not boiling it, because boiling it would actually, the healing properties will be kind of boiled out and go into the water, and you want those juices right in your actual onion. When it's soft enough after being steaming or dry baking, when it's soft enough, you can cut it in half crossways, just like this. And you can, this one's raw, so it's not going to work the way that I'm explaining. But if you had dry steamed it or dry baked it or steamed it, you would be able to gently squeeze some of the juice of the onion right out, and it would be warm. And you would use those that juice or that water, the onion juice, not water. You would use the onion juice. You would wait till it cools off just a little bit because you don't want it to be too hot. And you can take a couple of drops of that and put it straight into your ear, and it's amazing for ear aches or ear infections, right? So that's one way to use it. And once you can also use that onion that you kind of squeezed the juice out of a little bit, and you can put it in a nice cloth, like I mentioned earlier. You would put the onion and you would wrap it. Actually, you put the cut side down, because then it would be soft and the juices would be coming out on the other side of the cloth. This one obviously is raw, so the juices are not coming out. You can actually squeeze a little bit of it so that it would come out and actually wet the cloth, and you would put it directly to the ear. So if you have, for example, a child or even an adult who has an ear infection or an earache, even if it's not a full-blown infection yet, you would hold it right to the ear, and then you would wrap it either in a little bit of saran wrap, just to keep it from getting too messy, and also to keep the warmth in, the actual onion. And then you bandage it on the ear, or you can kind of rest right on it. And it's actually excellent, because as long as you keep it warm and you keep it on the ear, that warmth will actually soothe the heat. The heat has an effect to help heal and relieve the pain, and the moist heat relieves the pain. And the onion will be drawing, in the meantime, will be drawing the pain and the toxins from the earache or ear infection. Sometimes one application of this kind of onion poultice or warm onion is enough to repair the ear infection or the earache. But if it doesn't, then you can repeat it over a few days, and it's amazing. Chemical-free way to deal with an earache or ear infection. So that's onion. The next one that I want to show you is called Nature's Penicillin. This one's an actual recipe. So I'm going to share that with you. So nature's penicillin is pretty much made up of, oops, here. I'm going to just grab my mixer and I'm going to see if I can show you what I'm doing here. So I'm going to tell you what the ingredients are, bring them right over so you can see. So first ingredient would be grapefruit, and you would take the grapefruit and you would peel it. You're going to notice that I've peeled all of my citrus fruits in a very rough way. I've left it a lot of the pith on it instead of getting straight to the flesh of the actual citrus fruit. So you need make it so you can see what it looks like. Oops, let me see if you can. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. You guys able to see that? Okay, so I'm going to basically cut the grapefruit, and it's a peeled grapefruit. You can use, if you have organic grapefruits and organic lemons and citrus, oranges, then you can actually just wash it well and use it with the skin and everything, because there's a lot of active ingredients that are medicinal in the skin. So you take one grapefruit and you just peel it and put it in there. One orange, I have a very large orange, and you're going to cut it up. See how beautiful that is? And it smells wonderful. As soon as you start slicing it up, you're going to put an entire grapefruit and an entire orange, putting it all into my blender container. So there's my orange. Then you're going to take 2 lemons. Okay, so there are my lemons, and you see again, I've exaggerated on the peeling so that most of the pith would still remain, because there's a lot of nutrients and very high in vitamin C right in the pith of it. Okay, so I'm going to slice up the lemons. It smells so fresh. And then you're going to take 3 cloves of garlic. Obviously, you would peel those as well. I'll show you. So that's the lemon. Then you would take 3 cloves of garlic, throw it right in as well. And you would take a half of a large onion. So I'm going to use the onion that I had here. And then I'm going to just throw that all in there, as well as 3 drops of peppermint essential oil. So I'm going to add 3 drops right in. 1, 2, and 3. And then you basically take all of that and you blend it. You put it in your blender. If you have a high-speed blender, you can actually, like I said, even use the skin. It just makes a bit of a thicker mixture. So you're going to take all of this. I'm going to actually blend it up to show you how it works or how it looks. Okay. And you may need to add a little bit of water to get it started. Okay. If you have a high-powered blender, oops, let me take off the lid here. I'm going to just put a little bit of water. And I'm sorry that I have my back to you. I'm going to just go ahead and blend that. And okay, and that's pretty much it. So that has now created, you want to blend it until it's very smooth. If you want it a little thinner, then you would do it with a little bit more water. But you basically now have a very citrusy, and remember it has all the other powerful ingredients in there. I would now scrape that a little bit better, and I would blend it a little bit more, just so that it would be nice and smooth and nice, and no chunks in it. And you would take it, if for adults, you would take about a cup of that a day. And for a child, it would be about half a cup a day. And you don't take it all at once. You take it by the spoonful throughout the day. And then you put the remainder in a glass jar. And then you would go ahead and pour it right into your glass jar to store. And you keep it refrigerated with the lid on. You would pour it right into that. And keep it refrigerated. And when you're ready to use it again the next day, then you could either pour it into a cup and let it sit until it reaches room temperature, or you can warm it up just slightly so that you can use it. Nature's penicillin is excellent for colds, flu, sore throats, infections, any respiratory problems, and a general immune system strengthener. Amazing stuff. So that's nature's penicillin, and quick and easy, right? And who knew that you could make penicillin right from your kitchen? So that's nature's penicillin. And I'm going to show you just one last, I'm going to show you one last home remedy that you can do. And it is called throat coat. Just wiping my work surface here. Okay. And throat coat is basically, if any of you know me personally, I probably recommended this to so many people already, and they're probably like, oh no, not that stuff. That stuff is like so strong, but it's so, so good. Basically, I'll show you. It is, you take a tablespoon of raw honey, pure raw honey. I'm going to try to do this in a little bowl so I could show you. Sorry. So you take a bowl, a small bowl. You take a tablespoon of raw honey, and that's a really beautiful medicinal raw honey. Where do I have my spatula? I think I took it out. Oh, here it is. Here we go. Okay, so you put a tablespoon of honey. It's nice and sticky and thick, beautiful. And then you take 2 to 4 cloves of raw garlic pressed. Yes, 4 cloves. Now, you can either take 2 cloves if you're a little bit hesitant to use so much garlic. I usually do about 2, but you can go up to 4 cloves, no problem. You take a garlic press. Oops, are you guys able to see? So you take a garlic press and you put your clove right in there. You press it right into the honey. That's 1. That's 2. Like I said, you can choose to do between 2 and 4. For my kids, I usually do 2. For my husband, I do 4. And then the kids kind of laugh at dad because it's a little bit strong. Then you would take the juice of half a lemon, okay, and I've already juiced it, fresh lemon juice, add it right in there. And you're gonna add 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne powder, cayenne pepper, okay? I don't usually measure it. You can measure it, and depending on how much you can tolerate the heat, you would put more or less, but I usually put 2 or 3 good shakes, generous shakes. Can you see that? And then last but not least, I'm going to add a drop of peppermint oil. Now the peppermint essential oil is optional, but it just helps it so that it tastes a little bit more pleasant because it's pretty powerful stuff. So you take that and then you would mix that all up. Okay. And you're gonna make sure that you're mixing it so that the honey kind of dissolves into the lemon juice, and you're gonna have your bits of lemon all over the place, and it creates this concoction. I call it the good stuff at home, and my kids kind of are, I'm trying to create like a positive mentality for them, like reverse psychology, saying, oh, we're gonna have some of the good stuff. And they're like, when they were little, I remember them crying, saying, no, Mom, not the good stuff, because it was so strong, and they would kind of cry, but it would work like a charm. So they got the good stuff whether they wanted it or not. So the way that you have it then is for, you don't take it all at once. That's the throat coat, okay? Can you see how it looks? Okay, kind of creates a syrupy kind of liquid, but it's super strong. If you could smell this, you would either be impressed or you would be terrified. And you would take about 1/2 teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of this formula every 30 to 60 minutes. And I find that it's easier to take, especially for children, if you make smaller batches like this one. It's not as hot because it doesn't sit as long. But the longer that it marinates, the longer that it sits like this, the more potent and effective as well. So it's up to you if you'd like to make smaller batches or one bigger batch, so you don't have to make it so many times. And you don't wash it down. You take it, like I said, by the teaspoonful. So that's kind of like your dose. It's kind of like your cough syrup or whatever. You would take your teaspoonful and don't wash it down. You let the honey coat the throat. Then the heat of the cayenne is going to bring blood to the area, stimulating your immune system. Sorry, I just realized that I was talking to my container here. The garlic is antibacterial and antifungal and antiviral. So anything that may be causing your sore throat, the garlic's going to get right away to work on it with the cayenne, and the honey coats the area and it takes care of the problem. So usually this is excellent for strep throat. How long does it usually take to recover from strep throat? At least, you know, with medication, at least 10 days, right? This remedy, if you catch it early enough, it will generally take about 24 hours if you do it diligently and if you take it early enough. Every half hour, a spoonful of it, and usually within 24 hours, waking hours. You don't do it in the middle of the night, right? You need your rest, especially if you're trying to fight strep throat. Remember, rest is also one of the laws of health. So you would take it every half hour of the waking hours, and usually within 24 hours, whatever was ailing you is gone. It's killed it dead, and it's so effective. And garlic, cayenne, honey, these are all safe and effective with no side effects. You're not going to have any weird side effects coming from it. The only thing to take into consideration is that you need to make sure that you wouldn't use this remedy on a child who is younger than 2 years old just because of the honey, for risk of botulism. But starting from 2 years old and up, they can already start taking this, and it's excellent. And you want to make sure to use pure raw honey. It's the most medicinal. And if you can find local honey to the area that you live in, it's also excellent because it will help you with allergies as well. So that's it. That is the throat coat. So as you can see, our food can be a powerful way to regain good health. And God has truly provided everything that we need to heal and prevent illness. God wants us to have abundant health. And I really love a scripture verse that's found in 3 John 1 verse 2. It says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper in health, even as thy soul prospereth." And I just find it so encouraging to know that God wants us to be healthy, and he provided everything that we need right in nature, from our food for preventative, and even the same food can be a healing agent to help you get better. So that concludes our kitchen remedies demo and workshop. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions now.
All right. Well, Arlete, thank you so much. That was excellent. We've been getting some good comments. We are close to 3, so we do want to respect everyone's time. So if you do have to go, please, feel free to go. But if you want, maybe we spend like maybe 10 minutes to do questions. Is that okay, Arlete?
It's okay with me.
Yeah. Okay. Just before we do that, let me just share my screen here quick. Just want to invite everyone to our next webinar. Before we go into questions, it's going to be called Healed by Food, and we're just going to hear an incredible story of one man's health journey, how he was healed by using food, and then how that inspired him to start next fields. So if you want to hear that, please sign up. Go to lifestylemed.org/online. It's going to be in 2 weeks from 2 to 3 o'clock. So I hope you can join us for that. Okay. So with that, let's get through some questions here.
Sure.
So let's just try to do the ones probably most pertinent to your presentation. So we have one question from Heather. She's asking if someone has reactions to both onion and garlic. Is there something to do with that to address that?
Like in terms of as using it as the remedy or as a food? Obviously, if you have any kind of allergies to things like onion and garlic, then you wouldn't use it. You can use the other items like the potato and the cabbage because they do similar things in terms of like the pain and inflammation. But you can also use what you're able to and what you're able to handle. So, for example, for the coat throat, if you're not able to do garlic, you can do just the honey with the lemon and the cayenne. That will work as well. You'll still have a lot of the healing properties right in the cayenne. In terms of eating it and having issues with eating it regularly, then probably you have some gut issues or things that need healing internally, so that you would be able to eat it on a regular basis. And that's something that I would recommend that you would speak to someone to help you work through and heal the gut and your intestinal lining, because ideally you should be able to eat those foods for healing, but it's usually a flag that there's an underlying issue that would need to be addressed specifically, I guess. Does that help?
Okay, yes. Thanks, Arlete. Heather, if you require any more clarification, feel free to put that in the chat box. Arlete, we have a question from Kathy. Thank you, Kathy, for joining us. How about garlic pills? You talked about garlic pills.
Yes. So garlic pills, you can use, you can buy allicin. That's remember the active compound in garlic that makes it so healing. You can actually buy allicin in the health food store for like in capsules or in drops, kind of drop format. Very, very powerful. But keep in mind that when you're putting something in a concentrated form like that, you're not getting the whole package. So it's a little bit more potent and a little bit more specific. So yes, you can actually use garlic in capsules in form of allicin, but you would have to follow the instructions that are on there. And but honestly, like I just usually stick to eating the actual whole food versus taking it in any kind of concentrated supplement form, unless it's like a herb or an essential oil type thing. But yes, you can take garlic allicin specifically to deal with a lot of issues as well.
Okay.
That's what it's called. If you want it in a supplement form, you would look for allicin. They even have, I think, some garlic capsules that have like no odor. They're trying to remove the odor from it, but I don't know exactly how they do that. And I don't know if that affects the level of allicin in it afterwards. So like I said, my recommendation is always to use the whole food, because then you get the fiber and all the other good stuff that's in the garlic as well.
All right. Yep. Whole food, plant-based. Arlete, you talked a lot about cabbage. How about cabbage and bloating? Does it cause bloating?
It can cause bloating in some people. Yes, absolutely. And it's because of that, the property in it is the sulfur, right? So it can cause bloating. So you would if you're using it for just consumption, then cooked, it's usually a little bit better. Raw is where it would cause more of that organosulfur kind of reaction, and you actually get bloating and you actually get a lot of gas and flatulence as well. But if you cook it, usually it's lessened. And but as well, if it's an issue of digestibility, then I would still also recommend that that you try to ascertain the cause of why it's making your body react that way, and see if there's something else that's going on in your system that needs to be assisted in the healing.
Okay. Thank you, Arlete. That question was from Becky. So thank you, Becky, for joining us. We have a question. You talked about lavender, and I think you talked about lavender and helps with sleep, right? Can you, question here, can you, from Sarah, can you use lavender for children and infants under 1 year old?
Yes, you can. You can use it very safely and effectively in a diffuser. So you can buy a diffuser pretty much anywhere these days, but you want to make sure that it's a good diffuser as best as you can and as best as you can afford. And you would basically just, diffuser, you would put like water in it, and then 2 drops of the oil is sufficient, 1 to 2 drops depending on the quality of your oil. And you would diffuse it in the bedroom, usually about 15 to 20 minutes before you go into the bedroom, so that, and you close the door. Usually I close the door so that it diffuses nicely into the air. Very safe for infants, very safe. You can actually put it straight on the skin, or you can put it as well in a carrier oil, like fractionated coconut oil. So you pour a little bit of fractionated coconut oil in a little bowl and a drop or 2 of the lavender essential oil. And then you can rub it on the soles of the baby's feet, even on, rubbing in the back as well. It's very gentle and very effective in soothing and calming. So absolutely. I used it with my children right from when they were born.
Okay, awesome, Arlete. I have a baby on the way, and maybe I'll use that too. We had some really positive comments about your onion section. And yeah, but we have a question here. We have a question though. You talked about putting onion under your feet. Do you heat the onions, or is it just raw? That's a question from Darlene.
Chopped raw onion straight. Put it right on the soles of your feet. You want to put the bag, you can put the bag to keep it less messy, but if not, you can just put a sock right over it and it does its thing. It's amazing. It actually works so effectively. If any of you actually try any of these remedies and want to give us feedback afterwards, I would love to hear feedback and your experience on it, because they actually work very well.
Okay.
So yeah, raw onion.
I'll put our email in the chat, so anyone, if you try it out, just email us. Let us know. Share your stories with us. We have a question. Obviously, everything you talked about was for fruits and vegetables and spices. So what if someone has troubles digesting, they say, all fruits and some higher fructose veggies? So just what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, same as what I was mentioning before. Anytime you have any condition of illness or dis-ease, then usually there's an underlying cause. There's an origin or a root cause for it. So we need to try to get to the bottom of what's causing that issue, instead of trying to band-aid it and just relieve the symptoms. It's better to try to find out what's causing it in the first place. And usually if you do something like a cleanse, a detox to cleanse everything that's in your gut, and then you rebuild it with good things to create prebiotic and probiotic and excellent gut flora, it will heal the lining of your digestive system. And more often than not, you're able to be able to enjoy those foods again without an issue. So my first thing, remember the steps that I showed you at the beginning of the presentation, where it was talking about disease and the definition for it. The first thing we need to do is ascertain the cause. There's always a reason why. So once we figure that out, then we can do the other steps, putting in place all the other lifestyle laws of health, and then you assist the body in the healing. And more often than not, it resolves itself. God literally makes us self-healing, which is amazing. So we just have to cooperate, right? But yeah, I'm happy to give any more suggestions or recommendations if you want to talk to me one-on-one after.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Arlete. Certainly our bodies can heal itself. We just need to cooperate with that. We had a question. So just more of a reiteration, Arlete. So grapefruit and lemon can help lower chronic blood pressure. Is that right?
Which one?
Was it grapefruit and lemon, was it? Or
yes, grapefruit has high vitamin C. It helps eliminate kind of poisons and different toxins in the body. Very, very high, helpful with that. And the lemon is like antiseptic, and it kind of kills off anything that's happening in your. It makes your body alkaline as well. So if your body has acidic conditions, lemon being acidic as a fruit, it's kind of interesting. Inside your body reacts, the biochemistry reacts in an alkalining kind of state. So as soon as you consume it, even though it is an acidic fruit, inside it alkalinizes the blood and the body, and brings a lot of healing to it. And I'm not sure if I'm answering the question. Is the question written somewhere, or is it?
It was a
What was
direct. It was a direct question to the
Oh, just specific to grapefruit and lemon specifically? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was more just like
Yeah.
reiterating, confirming whether those two are the ones for blood pressure.
Yes, lemon.
Okay. All right, we have a question from Sarah. So, question is: so between age 1 and 2, cannot have honey? Question mark.
Not usually, no, because
Yes.
there's a risk of botulism for children under the age of 2.
Yes.
A lot of people have said that you can already do it after the age of 1, but I always, my rule of thumb is to always err on the side of caution. So up to the age of 2, no honey. You really don't need it, especially if you're breastfeeding. If you're breastfeeding your baby, then you have pretty much every antibody and fights any illness. The breast milk is amazing, and all the properties that your child would need to build their immune system and to strengthen their immune system can be gotten right from the nursing, from the breastfeeding. And as a mom, you can, if you're nursing your child, then you can have the honey, and that can actually be transmitted through your breast milk in a safe way for your baby. So no honey under 2.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Arlete. So just we need to wrap up here, but a few last questions, machine gun fire here. Does the peppermint oil have to be diluted when you put it on your skin? From Christina.
It depends on the quality of the peppermint oil. Not usually. I put it straight. So I literally just take the bottle, pour a couple of drops on my finger, spread it, temples, under the nose, opens your airways, nape of the neck. It's a cooling effect. In the summer, when it's very, very hot and you start having that kind of the feeling of heat stroke, peppermint oil is so refreshing, and it's so good for so many things. You can actually take some of it and put it on the roof of your mouth as well, and it opens up all, like any head congestion or head cold, opens up your airways immediately. So it's very safe to have straight onto your skin if it's a good quality therapeutic grade essential oil of peppermint.
Okay.
Just check the oil that you purchase.
Okay. And Arlete, but nature's penicillin, obviously, when you make it, it's kind of like thickish. So a question here from Marisol is, should you strain it or just ingest it as is?
So if you have a high-powered blender, I didn't let mine blend as much as I normally would. That's why I haven't poured it into my jar yet, because I am going to blend it a little bit more so that it's smoother. But you can definitely add a little bit more water to it to thin it out. But if not, you can strain it. I tend to like the whole thing because then you get the fiber in it as well. So we just drink it the way it is, but you're not drinking it like a smoothie. You're having it by the spoonful, right? So you're not gonna, it's not like, it's not so, I don't know. Some people have issue with texture. I know sometimes I have a little bit more of a texture issue, I guess, but you can add a little bit more water to thin it out. I normally don't strain it, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to, other than maybe losing some of the pulp, like I said.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Maybe we'll just take one more question here, Arlete. If someone doesn't tolerate lavender, are there any other essential oils that's good for sleep?
Yes. Roman chamomile is really calming and relaxing as well. And that's one that's easy to find as well. Frankincense is excellent for so many things, but frankincense is usually an oil that's a little bit more expensive because of the way that it's extracted. So I would say if you can't do lavender, chamomile would be my second choice for anti-stress and anxiety and soothing, calming.
Okay. All right. Well, Arlete, thank you so much. This has been excellent. Yeah. So, and want to thank everyone for joining us today. Hope you We're blessed. Hope you learned something practical that you can apply to your life. Email us at info@lifestylemed.org. Let us know how you thought, any suggestions. And again, we really want to invite you to our next one. It's in 2 weeks. Heal by Food. You can sign up with our website, lifestylemed.org/online. So again, thank you so much. Thank you, Arlete. And hope everyone has, yes, hope everyone enjoys the rest of your Sunday. And just remember, your lifestyle is medicine. Thank you.
And food can be your healing medicine as well.
Food as medicine. Yep.
Here's my.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Have a good one. Thanks for participating.
Yes. Thank you.